Good day, everyone, and welcome and joining us at the Americans with Disabilities Act Employer Recruitment Roundtable. We are so pleased not only are you joining us today, but on this very special day, because July 26, 32 years ago, the ADA was signed into law. The ADA is the most comprehensive law for people with disabilities, and we here at DRCVI, along with our partners and our presenters, are here celebrating today. We want to let you know that this recruitment event is it is a recruitment event. You can get a job out of this event. If you are a job seeker with or without a disability, these places and organizations are looking to hire and also diversify. So again, we push to make sure of inclusive opportunities, inclusive workforce, and certainly inclusive recruitment. I want to give a little shout out to our partners who have helped to, for the last 2 years, really celebrate the ADA and make sure for employment and disability that they've been able to keep front and center inclusive practices, both for employers and for employees. That is the Virgin Islands Department of Labor, the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center, which is at UVI, along with our sister agency, which is the VIU said Virgin Islands University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities. We've got the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, and of course, our very close partners, the VI Vocational Rehabilitation Program out of Human Services. We've been a team for almost 2 years now, and these recruitment events are a great opportunity for us to supplement maybe what VR or DOL is doing in the larger context of job fairs, okay? So to just briefly explain what we're gonna do today and go over the housekeeping before we start the formal introductions is with this event, because it's a recruitment event, there's a couple of things that are very important. If you're a job seeker or if you are a person with or without disability, it's important that you don't ask any personal questions at this event. I've done this many a times and people basically shoot themselves in the foot because they disclose something they don't need to, and you certainly don't need to do that in front of an audience. This is a personal conversation that you have. So please, your personal questions or complicated questions, please email them directly to me or the recruiter that's applicable, and we will follow up with you individually. If you do have a general question and you'd like to ask one of the recruiters or myself a question, put that in the chat, or at the end, we will have time to be able to answer some of those questions for you, okay? I myself am going to give you very specific instructions about instructions, which basically means that these recruiters here are here to recruit people. They have openings, they're not here to talk, and not really here to entertain an audience in that respect. A recruiter's time is very, very important. Time is money for them. And the more that they can recruit and have recruitment events, the obviously better for them. So because of that, I want to give very specific instructions for you, for the recruiters. So for example, if you, please do have pen and paper. They're going to give you very specific information like, this is how you contact me. This is how you contact the person that you're supposed to contact. Here is my email. Some of it will go in the chat box, but not all of it. And that step-by-step instruction is really crucial because if you're looking for a job, you're not following the instructions of what these recruiters are doing or asking of you. What's the chances of you following instructions at the actual workplace? So please be very, very cognizant and mindful, take good notes. And again, at the end, if you've got questions or clarifications you want on your questions, feel free to ask them. Lastly, there will be an evaluation at the end. We appreciate any feedback that you give. Kishma Cricky, who is with us, who is a part of hosting this event, will give instructions at the end. And thank you for her for all that she has done to make the logistics happen for this event. Now, I believe we have a couple of people. I want to just give me 1 second to be able to see who's online with us. We do have our executive director, Angus. Angus, if you'd like to say a few words before we start.
Can you hear me, Shami?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good morning, everyone. And,
good morning.
And thanks for attending this recruitment roundtable, employer roundtable. We have a few other activities. I don't know, I got on just after Shami started talking. There are 3 other activities planned for online activities as well to celebrate ADA month. Thanks, Shami and the staff for coming out, and I won't take any more of the time. I think for us in Virgin Islands, it's really important that we keep in the forefront for both the private and public sectors these types of events so that uh, we are making everybody aware of how important it is that we celebrate this act because it has opened a lot of doors for a lot of folks who were marginalized for many, many, many years. So without further ado, thank you for attending and for participating, which is really important as well. Okay, Shami?
Right, thank you. And thank you, Angus, for those words, because the reality is that from leadership down, it's really important in any organization that, we are at the very top of our game, and the leadership makes such a big difference to set that tone. And we just appreciate Angus for always participating and celebrating with us and making the time, because, executive directors are pretty busy. So thank you, Angus. So now, without further ado, we're going to introduce the panel. And again, let me just say, my name is Shami Carr. I'm an advocate at the Disability Rights Center, and I work along with Angus and with Kish McCricky. I'm not sure if we have any other staff on with us, but that's part of what we are and what we do. And what our main mission is to be able to advance people with disabilities. So with that, I'm going to hand it over first to Millicent from VI Personnel for introduction. Oh, you're on mute.
All right. Oh, good. Good morning, job seekers. My name is Millicent Aubane. I am the Territorial Administrator of Recruitment and Classification at the Division of Personnel.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Carol from First Bank. Introduce yourself, please. First Bank, Carol, would you like to introduce yourself, please? Oh. Nope. You're on mute now. You're on mute, Carol. Okay. Could you introduce yourself? Uh-oh. Okay, we have a little technical difficulty. Let's go on to Sergeant Griffin, and then we'll go back to First Bank. Sergeant Griffin, would you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Shami. And again, good morning to everyone. I am Sergeant Jamal Griffin, police recruiter for the Virgin Islands Police Department, as well as thank you from Commissioner Ray Martinez for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you. And just a little caveat with Sergeant Griffin, due to the nature of his work, of course, if he needs to be dropped off, just in case something like that happens, we have certainly an understanding of that. Carol from First Bank, are you with us? Okay, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Okay, good
Okay.
morning, Shami. I do apologize. We're having a minor technical difficulty.
No worries. No worries.
So good morning. My name is Carol Jackson Simmons. I am the Human Resources Manager at First Bank in the Eastern Caribbean region. That's our US as well as our British Virgin Islands. Participating in this morning's session, I do have our recruiter. Her name is Dancia Ellie. She is a part of the group that's attending the webinar today. She's here to back me up and to answer any questions that I don't answer correctly. Good morning. Thank you, Shami, for the invitation to participate in such an important activity with you this morning.
Great, thank you. And with First Bank, it looks like Nancy is kind of in the background, so why don't you just give a little wave? Hello, hello.
Hi, good morning,
Wonderful,
everyone.
thank you, thank you. All right, so let me start this whole conversation with recruitment, because again, as I mentioned, there's we have three exceptional recruiters, different organizations, for-profit, nonprofit. We've got the government, and the good thing is that for you job seekers, the labor market is really hot for you right now. There are numerous job openings, and this is a great opportunity to take advantage of this kind of one-on-one situation for recruitment. As I mentioned, we're going to start the presentation. So if you got your pen and paper ready, please do so, because now we're going to start to ask some questions, and we're going to do a round robin style. So I'm going to ask a question from each recruiter, and then we'll go ahead. They're going to answer that, and I'll go to the next question. We have 4 questions to ask them. And as I mentioned, this should take about 45 minutes to an hour. And after that, we'll do general questions, okay? So let's start with the first question. And as we know, with any organization or business, the most important thing is, I feel, as an advocate, and also I've worked at the Workforce Department of Labor, is a good fit, okay? So let's start with the very first question, and I think one of the most important questions, and again, we'll do it round robin. We'll start with VI personnel first. What do you consider as a good fit for the culture of your organization?
Good morning, one and all. Again, this is Ms. O'Bain. Well, a great fit. The Division of Personnel is the central personnel office of the government of the Virgin Islands. And just to give you a little bit of information regarding who we are. We are an equal employment opportunity employer that provides equal opportunity to all applicants and employees, as well as foster a culture that encourages innovation, inclusivity, growth, and development. Our application process, you'll find us online, and it's very user-friendly. On our website, we provide guidance on how to apply for a job, the listing of all the job titles, the postings on all the vacancies by agency, salary, opening, closing dates to apply, which is up to 11:59 p.m. Now, you can find us at www.governmentjobs.com or at www.dopusvi.org/careers. There are many job openings in the different fields. And we also share and advertise for other partners, such as the Judicial Branch of Government, Waste Management Authority, VI Lottery, Department of Education, and we look at it as a one-stop concept, whereas it's something for everyone. A good fit, it is up to that particular employer in terms of their workforce, their work culture. So indeed, what one might look for in terms of perhaps it may be a knowledge, skills, a particular ability. Another might be looking for someone with a type of skill set that, that can bring a difference in terms of innovation. So again, the Division of Personnel, we are the one that actually handles all of the recruitment for all 26 agencies that is part of the executive branch of government. Thank you.
Excellent. And, I should have mentioned, Millicent, that, an organization such as VI Government, which is the largest employer, there's several good fits. Like you said, beyond the credentials and the license and certification, attitude, team player, kind of autonomy, remote working sometimes fits into that. So really the good fit really, really varies. And I should have mentioned that before. So thank you for really highlighting that. Okay, First Bank, in terms of what do you see as a good fit and, kind of the culture of your organization?
Sure, Shami, thank you. In terms of a good fit, as Millicent indicated, I should probably start off by sharing a little bit of information about First Bank. First Bank is one of several recognized financial institutions in the U.S. Virgin Islands. First Bank, however, also has a presence in the British Virgin Islands. We do have a branch in Tortola. It turns out that this year, First Bank will be celebrating their 60th anniversary, having established the first Puerto Rican savings and loan organization in 1962 when they opened a branch in St. Thomas. Over the years, we've seen them merge and purchase other local branches, but we again will be celebrating our 60th anniversary in October. Presently, we have 8 branches throughout the Eastern Caribbean region. And when we talk about the Eastern Caribbean region, we are including the British Virgin Islands. Again, 1 branch in Tortola, 3 in St. Thomas, 3 in St. Croix, and 1 in St. John. So the recruiter that I introduced earlier, Dancia, she handles the recruitment effort for the Eastern Caribbean region, all of our branches, all of our lines of business. We have a tendency to refer to branches because they are probably the most visible part of our business, but First Bank is more than just a branch. We have a commercial lending business. We have a collections unit, we have support offices, but it's just that our retail branches represent the biggest piece in terms of volume, the largest volume in terms of staffing requirements. We offer a wide range of products and services throughout all of our businesses. And our mission, in so many words, is to, we're about promoting the well-being and improving the quality of life for our communities that we service. And we do that through creating partnerships, similar as what we're doing with the Disability Rights Center of the VI, educational programs, financial services, and corporate giving. So a good fit from a wider perspective. We believe we are a good fit for the community of the Virgin Islands because we see that our portfolios are growing. We are confident that we are moving in the right direction in terms of helping our customers meet their financial needs. The other side of that, in terms of a good fit, if individuals align with First Bank's mission, our vision, and our values, that's where we begin to talk about whether you are a good fit for the First Bank environment. And when we talk about the values of First Bank, we're looking for honesty, helpfulness, respectful, innovative, customer service oriented, responsible, a commitment to quality, and supportive of our community. Those are some of the values of the First Bank organization.
Great. You also mentioned mission, and I just want to say something that I heard from a job seeker, and I thought it was brilliant. And I think it's an advice I give to other job seekers when you talk about mission is she came back to me and she said, I saw myself in that mission. I see myself in your mission. And I just thought that was so powerful. I can't imagine being at, in an interview and saying that to an employer, be like, wow, I just thought it was really, really great. So I just wanted to share that when you said mission.
Correct. Thank you.
Yes. And Sergeant Griffin, for you, in terms of maybe the history of VIPD, but also, again, what's a good fit? And you might be similar to that of VI personnel, where there's multiple different types of good fits. So the floor is yours. And you're on mute. Oop.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much, Shami. So as far as the history of VIPD, I think everyone here has, of course, experienced VIPD on a whole. We were pretty much born into public safety, right? That's all we know. We know that law enforcement is a broad spectrum, and no one necessarily has an idea of what we do when it's VIPD. The mission, it's simple. It's to protect and serve people and property. However, I think it should have a comma to that and also provide professional customer service, because this is part of what we do. Now, we're unique in the fact that we have sworn personnel and civilian. So we're not just simply going out there walking up the individual with badge and guns, taking reports. You also have the civilian portion of it. That's a plethora of job opportunities. So when people think I don't want to be a police officer, well, you don't have to be. There's so many other job opportunities within VIPD. So if you go on to jointhevipd.com and or even go on to my good counterpart here, Department of Personnel, there's many things that you could seek. Just starting from, let's just talk about police work for a minute. If you like K9, you could be a K9 officer. You could be in the bomb unit. You could be in SWAT. You can be in crime prevention, being on the street. And that's very important. That's a big part of police work, being able to be one with the community. I'm here, Ms. Carol is on for First Bank. Officers have to interact with tellers every day. You have to deal with Department of Personnel on a regular basis. Anyone with a disability, you can still definitely join the police department. So that's some of the opportunities for growth. Now, when we want to talk about a good fit, you doing the right thing, right? Integrity. And that doesn't make a difference if you're a police officer or civilian. Having some level of honor, trust, work ethic, which is very important. You have to be able to commit, being able to adapt. And if you have a sense of adventure, regardless if you're civilian or not, or you're a sworn personnel, it's never a dull moment in the Virgin Islands Police Department. And We pay very well. We are the police officer. So if you're thinking about law enforcement, you might as well start at the top, and there's always growth. So that's just a little tidbit. I'll definitely elaborate more as we continue, but that's where we're at. Join the VIPD.com if you want to learn more.
Mhm. And I think that, you
Thank
know, in terms, yes, thank you, Sergeant. You know, I think in terms of when people think about, you know, like you mentioned, the different types and components of serve and protect, there's so much. And if you have a disability or you've acquired a disability and you were in, say, you know, the police department, you could have transferable skills that could go into something else in the police department. And that's true also for the other employers, but specifically with the police, because sometimes there are a lot of physical attributes. And if you get a disability, you could still do something in that department. So keep that in mind. Okay, so thank you for that. And again, the fit, the skills are important, but the fit is equally as important. And I'm sure that all the recruiters can attest, because you might have someone who's really skilled, but they have a lousy attitude. Or maybe they're really not that honest. Maybe the background check came back, nothing fraudulent, but you just sense a dishonesty to them. So all that is really important in terms of your personality, but also in terms of your fit, okay? So now we're going to go to the next question, which is a two-parter. And again, talking to the audience, this is the time that you really want to pay attention to the specifics of their instructions. So we're going to break it down in two parts in terms of the screening process, okay? So the first part, and again, I will ask each one of you to just respond to the screening process. Then I'm going to jump to the next part, and we'll do the same thing again in this bigger conversation. So again, we'll start with you, VI personnel. For the screening process, and I know because of the fact there are so many different departments, if you can maybe just talk generally or as general as you can about what are the educational requirements and any kind of certifications or anything additional that gives them an edge when it comes to this type of screening with education and certifications.
Okay. All right. We have hundreds of vacancies that's in different fields. So the minimum qualifications varies. It can start with something as simple as just a high school diploma to be a receptionist, or it could be something that is more complex, that for a nutrition supervisor that may ask for, if not an associate degree or a bachelor's degree, they could ask for something in terms of trades in the trades field that may not require any of that, but just merely experience.
Mhm.
Now, our screening process is two tiers. When you apply online for vacancy, you'll be required to respond to supplemental agency questions as well as to upload required documents. And as I mentioned earlier, the system is so easy. So it should not have any complications whatsoever. Now, then the staff will then conduct the final review and evaluations to ensure that the candidate submitted all the information and they do meet the qualifications for the position in which they have claimed that they are interested in. And from there, of course, they may need a background check that may be intense, that may require an, going before an interview board or a comprehensive background check that asks for even more information. There is notifications, there's text messages, all of which will be sent to the email address that is provided. The ideal candidate is those who do not meet the qualifications, but view government, okay, as their employer of choice. So again, just to recap, when it comes to vacancies, there's hundreds that you will find on our website, again, at www.dopusvi.org/careers. And again, if you do not see a particular position that you're interested in, you can actually put in a job interest form, which will then allow for you, when those positions become available, you will be notified accordingly. So we do look forward to you becoming one of the unit and the elite of the GI workforce. Thank you.
Mhm. And you mentioned that your online application, you make it sound like it's very intuitive, it's easy. But let me just again give a shout out to some of the partners that support people with or without disabilities if they need help with applications. And that includes the Independent Living Center sometimes does some pre-vocational, Island Therapy sometimes help. Vocational rehab definitely helps, and Department of Labor at times can also help. So there are hands-on assistance just in case you do get tripped up a little bit. So thank you.
And they can reach out to us as well.
Oh, and also
Thank
the
you.
VI government, great. So
Thank you.
make sure you wrote that down for instructions. If you're having difficulty, call or email Millicent, okay? And then you got some
Thank you.
backups. Okay, so to you, Carol, with your, again, screening process. And in this case, you can also include things like background checks as well.
Okay, sure, definitely. Unlike the government of the Virgin Islands, we don't have hundreds of vacancies, which is a good thing for us. As a recruiter, when you have a vacant position, it sometimes becomes a little, you become anxious because as Shami alluded to earlier in the presentation, finding talent is quite the challenge. And we really, really, our first market is our local talent.
Right.
We have a great relationship with the Department of Labor, and they're the second persons that we reach out to when we do have vacancies. Our internal candidates being the first individuals that we reach out to when we have a vacant position that we need to staff. But specifically to your question, all of our jobs start with the minimum, at least a minimum requirement of a high school diploma. Similar to the government of the Virgin Islands, we have jobs that span the gamut. We have entry-level positions, which are usually the ones that we spend a lot of time recruiting for, entry-level positions in our branches. Those are our service representative positions and our sales and service representative positions. And those are positions that we have vacant today throughout the business. St. John, St. Croix, St. Thomas, of course, the BVI is not applicable in this discussion. But if you know a friend, you know someone in the BVI, we also have vacancies in the BVI market. And we post all of our vacancies internally. And as I indicated, they are posted secondly with the Department of Labor. So it starts with a minimum of a high school diploma. And there are some jobs that require, whether it's a certification in banking courses, a degree from the university or from any university. So the minimum requirements vary based on the positions and the specific job that we're trying to staff. Our website is www.firstbankvi, as in Virgin Islands.com. And first is spelled out FIRSTBANKVI.com. All of the applications are online. We do not take handwritten walk-in applications. We drive you to our website, select About Us, click on the Careers tab, and that's where you will find the listing of the vacant positions in First Bank and the locations of those vacancies. So it starts with an online application. And it's really important when you go online and you complete the application that you remember the password that you established when you first went on site and developed and opened your account. Because if you're successful and you do join the team, there's some training requirements that you have to complete day 2, day 3, and it is going to require you to access our systems using that password. So jot down your passwords so that you will remember when it gets to that point. And, unfortunately, our screening process is quite extensive. And I believe Millicent as well as Sergeant Griffin may articulate the same thing. Next to our children, our finances are the most important thing. So we are responsible for safeguarding those assets for our clients. So we get very specific and very particular about who they are facing off with in the organization. So we do require drug testing.
Okay, Carol, we'll get into that in 1 minute, okay?
Okay.
Just 1 minute. the background check, education, any certifications?
Yes, certifications, we do background checks, but I don't want to scare the participants. We do have jobs where, again, the minimum qualification is a high school diploma. And as we've mentioned before, your attitude tells you where and how high you can go.
Correct.
For some of the jobs one of the jobs, there is a math assessment. But if you did not do well on the math assessment, but you came in with a positive attitude,
Mhm. Right.
we could see this customer service orientation. Certain exceptions can be made for individuals who may not have exceeded on the math test, because we realize some people are challenged in terms of taking assessments, but put them in the environment and they're just as successful as someone that got 100 on the test. So while we use it as a guide, again, we could make exceptions to that.
Great. That's great. Very good to know. Very helpful. Okay, Sergeant Griffin, in terms of, again, the screening process, again, we'll talk about other attributes like drug tests, physicals and all that after, but just education, certification, background. What's kind of the down low for people to know about that?
Yes, Shammy, I feel as if I'm a cleanup hitter on an all-star team here. But similar to what Ms. Bain and Carol said, as simple as or starting off with a high school diploma, and we can go as far as a master's for some positions, because there's so many different things, so many moving pieces in VIPD between civilian and the needs and sworn personnel. Simply put, if you decided you wanted a career as a police officer, believe it or not, all we're requiring is a high school diploma and some gumption, some integrity. We'll get into the details of that extensive background check, but I think we do probably have one of the most extensive background checks, because we are placing individuals to protect home and property in the community. So I'm not going to place a firearm in someone's hand without doing an extensive background check, but we will get into that. And like I said, you join VIPD with a high school diploma, we're starting you off at $40,953, which I think is a very great compensation to join. And of course, again, like I said, there's upward mobility. And we do have hundreds of jobs within VIPD, especially in police, auxiliary, community service officers. So there's a lot that you could get from VIPD.
So, and at this point, Sergeant Griffin, if you could get into the background part, maybe take a couple of minutes. You
Sure.
mentioned it's extensive. This is a good time to let the audience know.
Sure. So the first thing you have to do is apply at jointhevipd.com. Once you do that, eventually you will have to take an examination.
Uh-oh. I don't know if Sergeant Griffin froze on us a little. Let's give him just a second to.
Okay. So
Yep,
once
there we
you, I'm sorry.
You were frozen just for a split second, so.
Okay. Could you hear me?
No, not really.
Okay. So what I said was, if you have a bachelor's degree or your prior military and you can produce a DD 214, you are away from taking that entry level exam. Moving past the exam, then you would have to do a physical fitness test, which you have to pass. Then you would do a board, and it would just continue on. How far do you want me to go? Because it's rather extensive.
Okay, maybe we'll leave it at that for now. As
Okay.
I was saying to the audience, if it's a complicated question, or in this regards, complicated response, it would be fine to follow up with Sergeant Griffin to get those, especially depending on the track that you're looking for, because I'm sure they vary in terms of backgrounds depending on the position as well, right?
Correct.
Okay, great. So as just for job seekers, there's really two tiers of screening when a recruiter is looking to see if you're qualified, quote unquote qualified. One is, do you meet the what they call the hard skills, the degrees, the certifications, the license, the background check. And then part of also those other hard skills, and we'll talk about soft skills in a minute, but part two of that is really physical aptitude test, drug testing, any kind of medical examination. Now, this can get very, very complicated for people with disabilities because of disclosure. And unfortunately, we are not going to have time to talk about that today. But if you are a person with disability and you have medical conditions that are non-obvious that could be potentially disclosed through one of these kinds of testing, do be in touch with me directly and I will explain to you your rights and your responsibilities when it comes to this, okay? Because like I said, it's a very complicated conversation. But with that, let's start again with Millicent with VI Personnel to talk about part 2 of screening, which is physical aptitude tests or drug tests or otherwise.
All right, thank you, Shami. Well, again, when you think of the jobs that are actually vacant and posted and positions in which you may be interested in applying for, it is just a basic background check. Now, it can go as far as Mr. Sergeant Griffin has indicated for those type of law enforcement positions that might be for police, fire, and corrections. It's not just police, those 3 particular class 3 agencies. It will then entail a psychological, a physical agility, of course, a drug test, the oral board interview, and of course, again, a full comprehensive background check. So that's what that includes.
Okay, wonderful. So it's the full gamut of in terms of physicals and psychological and drug tests and so forth. So again, when I've done this with other groups, with job seekers, they themselves, you know yourself, do you know if you can pass a drug test? Do you know if you can pass an aptitude test? And again, that's why I discourage people from asking questions, because people would literally ask that question in public and then tell their answers, and it's just shooting yourself in the foot. So this is why we are educating. That's why these employers are telling you specifically this information. And we at DRCVA are empowering you to make that decision to know, yes, I could be a good qualifier or maybe not. And that's a decision that you can make for yourself based on their response. So
And
with
if
that,
you mind, if you don't mind, Shami,
Yes.
also I needed to indicate, there's also bona fide qualifications. So even if you apply for positions at VITEMA as emergency call center operators, those bona fide qualifications are part of the package also, because you still would have to have that background check, you know, and also you may have to have some sort of citizenship or whatever the case may be. And also back to when we think in terms of corrections, fire, police, fire could start at age 18. However, police and correction has to start at age 21 because of a firearms license that is required. So I just
Great.
wanted to say that for the record.
very, very important information. I really hope people are writing this down. This is so specifically detailed and important. So thank you, Milson, very, very much for that. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so we're going to hand it over now to Carol. In terms, again, we're talking about part 2 of screening process, which is the physical, aptitude, psychological, drug test, anything that's related to that.
Thank you, Shami. Again, our process begins with the online application, and it's important for the participants to understand that in our environment, and it may be similar to Sergeant Griffith as well as to Ms. O'Bain, that becomes a legal document once you put your signature on that document. And working in the financial services environment, everything that you put in that document should be honest and truthful, because when we begin to look at you as a candidate, it starts with the information that you put in the application. So once you receive the application, our recruiter 9 times out of 10 will reach out to you if you have at least reflected in the application that you have met the minimum requirements of the job that you are applying for. Again, our jobs are posted on our website, and they include a description of the job along with a list of the requirements to fulfill the task attached to that job. Screening will progress to, yes, a very extensive review of your educational background that you've listed. Even if it's a high school diploma that if you say you have a high school diploma, you're going to be expected to produce that document. You're going to be expected to produce documentation to support whatever information that was placed in your application. And we will check to determine that those documents are accurate and truthful. So We do a background check on your educational, whatever you've indicated. If you indicated your highest degree to be a doctorate degree, I'm not saying that is what's required to perform the jobs at First Bank, but if you listed, for example, you have a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of the Virgin Islands, again, you have to produce that evidence. While we do reach out, this one of the challenges with some of the local institutions is producing the documentation. So we place that responsibility on the candidate. You need to provide us with those documents when asked. We also do
Carol, I don't mean to interrupt you. But actually, we're talking about part 2, the physical, the drug test, the aptitude, psychological.
Okay,
Yeah.
we do drug testing. You have to produce negative drug testing from our local labs. We are a COVID vaccination required environment. As that's the result of the pandemic. If you're joining the team, you must produce evidence of full vaccination. Right now, that does not include boostering, but it includes the initial vaccinations. We do fingerprints that we submit to the FBI to evaluate for us to determine your criminal background. If you do have certain criminal background activity, it could exclude you from being considered for a job within First Bank, which we are an FDIC organization. So there are certain criminal activity backgrounds that cannot be a part of the team here at First Bank. The production of police reports from the local police department, confirmation through the Department of Immigration that you're eligible to work in the US, or if it's in the BVI that you're eligible to work in the BVI, as well as we do a background check with OFAC, the Office of Foreign Assets Control, to determine if there's any relationship with terrorist groups, look at your history in terms of fraudulent activities, how you manage your financial accounts in the past. We also will engage in doing validation through OFAC.
Okay, so just to wrap that up, because I know you guys have a lot of screening process and to completely understand that. For this portion, you do a drug test. You didn't mention any physical or psychological tests, correct?
No
Okay.
physical and psychological testing. However, we do reserve the right, once you're a member of the team, if you're displaying certain behaviors, to refer you for that type of testing.
Okay. And then you mentioned, and I'm glad you brought this up because some people have asked about vaccines. So this is another long conversation. If you're a person with a disability and cannot take the vaccine, please call us directly. It's a very specific conversation.
Correct.
It's part of reasonable accommodation these employers are aware
Correct.
of. We don't have time to get into it, but I'm glad you brought that up, Carol, because we do work with some people because of disability, they cannot be vaccinated, and there are ways to work around that. You give me a call directly. Correct. At the end, I will put our contact information in. I don't want to throw anybody off just because you're a vaccine kind of employer. That doesn't mean that people do disabilities and also religion may not be able to be accommodated.
Correct.
Okay?
You are correct, Shami. You are correct.
Great. Thanks, Carol, for all that information. I hope people are writing it down. It's a lot of stuff, okay? All right, so let's get to Sergeant Griffin. Again, we're getting, and to the extent that you can do this in the most succinct way, because I know, like First Bank, you also have very extensive types of ways to make sure the person is competent. And in this case, drug tests, physical, psychological, COVID, all of that. So.
Yes, I'd just like to state for the record, VIPD is not enforcing a COVID vaccination at this time. So just want to put that clear for everyone. Of course, I would advise anyone, if you can, go ahead, but it's not enforced by VIPD. And to speak about the extensive background investigation, and I do mean extensive, you do have to do a physical fitness agility test that you must pass to begin with. Now, I don't want to discourage anyone because I have been able to do it at a time when I was not the most physical fit. You just have to train for it. Once past that, you do have a psychological evaluation, which includes an IQ test. Once you've completed that and you're allowed into the academy, which is a paid academy. The academy is approximately 6 months long. We continue the background investigation. We're not just looking into your finances or NCIC check, which is run by FBI. We are going to your neighbors, we're going to your friends, we're going to family members, we're going to past jobs. Even if you may have applied for a job and didn't get it, we're going to sit down with individuals who may have interviewed you. So we are very much embedded in the community because we are one. So we're going to then take your face and we're going to plaster it everywhere in government agencies and ask everyone to tell us anything that they may know about you. I'm being very transparent. While going through the academy, the entire process, you're still being investigated right up to graduation. So at no point are we stopping until you are completely through, because at any time while in the police academy or trying to get a job within VIPD and you're going through that process, even up to the day before graduation, you can be removed if we find something that was not disclosed beforehand. So if you think that there's something that we won't find out, we will. It's just when we do. It's always good to disclose information because sometimes people think that they can keep it a secret, or they think it's minute, or they're embarrassed by it. But sometimes it's a simple conversation will get you past that simple hurdle. So never think I can't do it because if I tell them the truth, I won't get in. That's not true. And of course, honesty is the best policy, right? So again, like I said, it's extremely physical. There's a lot of training within the academy. You're going to learn academics. You're going to learn about the code of law. You're going to learn conflict resolution, verbal judo, as we would call it, how to resolve matters before it gets to a hands-on situation. And if it does, we're going to definitely teach you how to defend yourself with your hands or whatever you need to, as well as a firearm. We're teaching you how to use these tools, defensive driving, and just a plethora of training that you can use not only within VIPD, but moving forward in your life.
Definitely. And you said something that was really crucially important. This applies to these three employers, any employer. Honesty on your application. One of the things you said, Sergeant Griffin, was that maybe you're afraid to disclose out of embarrassment, but sometimes people don't disclose because they think like maybe conviction has been expunged, maybe it's been sealed. It's best to make sure if you have a rap sheet, make sure you get hold of it before you apply, so that way you don't get in that situation. They may not be sympathetic to you. They might think you lied when in all reality you really just didn't know. So if by chance you've had convictions in the past, again, you've been told they've been taken off your record, they're sealed, they're expunged, double check, because that will absolutely put a red mark, if not take you off the list to be an applicant. Okay, so it's just a FYI to job seekers on that note. All right, we're going to get into the second part of the program, which is really talking about now career ladders. And we talked about in the beginning that a good fit for an employer is what they're looking for. But what about you as a job seeker? What are you looking for? Are you looking for a place that's going to not only develop and support your skills and your abilities, but are they going to give you opportunities to move forward and to move up and onward? So the next question I'm going to ask is related to promotions and career ladders. Okay, I'd like to know, one is, what is your actual career ladder? So what does that look like? As again, general as possible. And two, if you have some sort of statistical or a general number, that what percentage does your internal staff get promoted in terms of those opportunities too? Because again, a job seeker may say, I might come in at the bottom, but if I know 80% of the internal promotions are from existing employees, then I know I have a good chance of getting promoted. Okay, so that's the reason for that question. So I'll start with you, Millicent, in terms of your career ladder and just a general guess of what your internal promotions might look like.
All right. Thank you again, Shami. Okay, when we look at it in terms of promotions, of course, it is the policy of the government to promote its employees, offer that opportunity. However, there's a lot of positions that falls under career ladders, such as positions that might be fall under craft and labor, You might see a person that may apply for a laborer and they can move up from a laborer to a general maintenance. From general maintenance, they can then move into something higher in terms of the foreman or the supervisor or even director of maintenance. That is your career ladder right there. Okay. Then we also have in terms of administrative. You may look at administrative career ladder like a person that came in as a clerk typist, they may become an secretary and then move to administrative officer, 1, 2, 3, administrative assistant, and then become an office manager. And then on top of that, they could become the assistant director of administrative services, then the director, or even a commissioner of an agency. So I'm saying that to say there are career ladders, okay? Then there's what you call career lattice, whereas a person may not be required to stay in a particular agency. One thing with the government, I must say, and I'm going to toot the horn, there is 26 agencies, so you don't have to stay in the one agency. You can hop as often as you need to get to where your career interest and your field is. Because some folks, when they apply for jobs, it's just to get their foot in, and then they realize, oh, I have better skill set. I built it. I feel that I can do better. I can do more. And then there it is. They apply for the position and they're given an equal opportunity just like everyone else. So again, I'm going to piggyback and say on the jumpstart, the division personnel is an equal employment opportunity employer, and there are jobs available and opportunities, career opportunities for one and all. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for bringing
You're
up the whole, career lattice. And that we call that also like if you're moving laterally or if you're moving from one division to the next. And that is such a good point because sometimes, you just feel like you've hit a ceiling and you want to try something. As long as you're a good employee and you have good status, you can really move around. That's not a bad thing. Because again, at the end of the day, let me just ask you, Milson, how long does someone have to work to be able to get a retirement from the VI government?
Well, there's a law that requires the division, I'm sorry, GERS, the Government Employee Retirement System, is based on law. So for me, I came in, there's tiers. I came in under tier 1, which would then say, okay, I would put in my 30 years or I get, and then it's up to whether or not you reach your age requirement, which may then take you to probably like if you're 60, you could do at least 10 years and still be able to get your retirement benefits. So, yeah.
Okay, good to know. And this is so helpful for career advisement because again, you might be a young person starting, you might be in the middle of your career, or you might be in a home stretch at 60 years old, but there's still opportunities. And that's the point, I think, of not just the career ladders, but the lateral moves to keep you as a VI employee, regardless of what department, because you're still contributing to the overall workforce of the government. So,
and if you would like for me to even tell you my personal story, just to be quick, okay, I started as an intern. Then I went back to school, got my degree in HR, and then from there, I worked with the division of personnel for a little over 30 years. Shh, don't tell anyone, please. And I worked up the ladder, from an analyst, to a senior, to a supervisory analyst, to supervisor of the unit, to administrator. And in between, I was able to expand in terms of you have your certifications, your licenses, and you also have where you have all these opportunities that allow for you to be able to expand and grow and develop. And some of the agencies, allow for that, for you to go to conferences, to learn, and even to pay, compensate you for even, participating in these things. So, and also, I was able to be a labor union president for a number of years. So I'm telling you, the GVI is the place to be. I'm excited, and I hope that you'll be just as excited. Thank you.
I said this when Millicent joined us for the first roundtable in March. Just highly engaging. I mean, you can ask for a better recruiter. And I tell job seekers that when you go to at a job fair and you go talk to the recruiters, and if they're not jumping up and down, if they're, they don't have to have pom-poms on, but if they are not jumping up and down to talk to you, that's not an employer you want to talk to, because if they're not excited about their agency, how do you expect that, for yourself to be excited? So thank you for that in the most positive way. Thank you. All right, Carol, we'll go to you next in terms of career ladders and any type of promotional opportunities.
Okay. Shami, our mission and vision requires that we should be serious about investing in our employees. And we are committed to their professional development. In fact, we encourage after they join the organization within their first 3 months to begin the conversations with their managers in terms of where they see themselves and where they would like to be tomorrow. We have programs that, to train them to do their current jobs better, as well as we have programs that prepare them to do the next job. We have members of our team that joined the organization at the entry level. Again, on the retail side of the business, our entry level is our service representative and our sales and service representative jobs, those that are open and available to our participants today. And we have team members who joined at entry level, gone through the course of development, and they are now in senior management roles in the organization. So we definitely have a career path, and we offer a career ladder for individuals who feel that the financial services environment is that environment for them. Because admittedly, it's not an environment for everybody. So if you have answered that question and determined that you want to help members of the community and you want to help them through allowing them to achieve their financial goals, the banking environment is for you. And you could join as a service rep or as a sales and service representative in the retail business. And you could grow and join our commercial teams. We have the mortgage business, we have the consumer lending business, and we have support areas. So you could get your foot in the door as a service rep, or you could get your foot in the door as a business support rep. Okay, begin to feel your way and figure out where you're really interested in aligning, and you can move into other areas of the organization. I don't have a percentage, but with all of the work that we've put in place, we have a training specialist on our team, and we've been able to really devote a concerted effort in the development of our staff. Of 150 active employees, we promoted about 19 or 20 last year. This year, we are on trend to exceed that in terms of internal promotions. Every organization, you need to reach that right balance. You're promoting from within, but you also like that fresh talent that's coming in. Regardless of what level they're joining the team, we truly welcome external candidates to become part of the organization.
And I think it's a very good point of diversifying point of views, diversifying experience, diversifying institutional knowledge. So, again, young people, middle-aged, older, it's all in the same boat. And you said something that was really important, Carol, about, and now of course it just escaped me.
You made a point earlier, regardless of where you are in life in terms of your career, whether you're a new graduate and you're just beginning, you're like middle age and you want to switch and do something different, or you are a retiree and you still want to be engaging in the working environment and making a contribution. I mean, that does not prohibit you from reaching out and applying for a position at First Bank. Every age group brings a different dynamic to the equation, and diversity is the way to go, really. Absolutely. It just makes an organization a better organization.
Exactly. Diversity of thoughts, but also the diversity of looking like the community too.
Exactly.
People forget that disability is part of diversity too. And Carol, I did remember the comment I wanted to make is that you said within the first 3 months of your hiring, you actually start talking about professional development. And that's amazing because most people at the first 3 months are just trying to get past probation. So
listen, when we hire, we believe you're going to get past probation. We don't hire to think that you're going to walk away from the organization. So, we engage immediately. We recognize that you have certain attributes and that's what caused you to become a member of the team. We are also concerned about you as an individual on the team. What are your personal, professional goals? And if they are aligned with the type of business that we're engaged with, we want to help you get there.
I think that's just great. I've never heard an employer put it like that. So I had to I had to point that out, so it's wonderful. Okay, and Sergeant Griffin, to wrap this part up of career ladders, whatever angle you want to take, again, there's multiple ways, promotions, whatever it is in VIPD.
Yes. So I think I'm gonna have to start going before these ladies because I think they're feeling like thunder, to be honest. And
I'm
they're
gonna start
saying
with you for the last one then.
right, right. So there definitely a lot of what the ladies are saying applies to VIPD. But the one thing I'll have to say is, you know what? I'll use myself as a living testament, right?
Mhm.
When I joined VIPD roughly 17 years ago, the norm was to send individuals out upon graduation to patrol. Now, I was in a unique situation. We were doing a pilot project where they said, we're going to send you to a specialized unit and see how that functions. Because the norm was everyone did a beat cop job. That didn't happen for me. I was allowed the opportunity to grow in my specialized unit. I learned a lot. And I said, you know what? I want to move around. I didn't want to stay in that unit. So as a young officer, I moved around my department quite a bit. I put in for requests to transfer to different departments, different units, and some of them I was able to get to. The next thing I decided I would eventually go to school. I went to college, you know, because you just needed a high school diploma. And I always said I would not go and get a degree. I was already making such good money. What do I need to go back to school for? Silly. If you want growth and you want to really move around and become a broad employee and be the difference, you would want to make sure you get that higher learning, right? So I did that. Lucky enough, I became a sergeant at a very young age and have been working on my career. I'm actually the union president as well for the supervisors. So I have worked around the department for quite a bit to the point where now I'm doing, I'm the recruiter. So there is definitely growth, and it can be growth for a young individual. You know, I'm almost to 40, but I'm still a very young man doing what I'm doing. So there's definitely growth for a young person to say, hey, I could do what Sergeant Griffin is doing. You know, I came in at a very young age. I was able to advance. And a big thing I would say for us as people, you have to take that initiative. You have to want it. You have to make sure you're pushing. If you're just going to come to work, you're going to do your regular day, and you say, you know what, I did my 9 to 5, I'm going to go home, then you'll continue doing a 9 to 5 and you'll go home.
Right.
But if you say, you know what, I'm going to come in, I'm going to work twice as hard, and I'm going to stay a little bit extra, I promise you, someone will take notice and you will move up. It may take some time, but it'll happen. But if you do like everyone else is doing, you'll always be like everyone else. Now, to become a police sergeant, that's the start. First, you're a police officer, then you're a corporal. That's a given rank that can be given to you. Then a sergeant, lieutenant, captain. Those are the ranks that you test for. Right now, I've actually been working with Ms. Albane on getting testing done. So we're about to do some testing. After 5 years of being a sergeant, you're eligible to be a lieutenant. After 2 years of being a lieutenant, you're eligible to be a captain. Once you've done those ranks, there's the deputy chief, chief, assistant commissioner, and commissioners. But those are are appointed by the governor. So those are more politically inclined. But if you want to reach that plateau, your goal is to be a captain. That's what you test for. It's very competitive. The money does follow. The prestige, the rank, the time and grade, everything is there. So it's something that you should want to work for. Now, some people may have ideas that they want to be, you know what, I don't want to be a captain, or I just want to work as a K9 unit officer. I applaud that. That's great, because you know what you want, you know, you have your ideas, and this is what you want to do. So we do, if you have a particular training, let's say you're a forensics major, and you decide you want to join VIPD, we're going to take that, we're going to look at the degree and say, you know what, we're going to place you in forensics. If you're a K9 handler and you have that training, we're going to put you in K9, because we do, at the interview process, we ask you, what are your specialties? What can you give us? And this is what we can give to you. And some people, in today's time, many officers don't even make it to patrol. We have people becoming detectives off the bat. That didn't happen in my days. Like I said, I was a pilot project, but this is now becoming the norm. It's what you give, you're gonna get.
100%. Wow, that's what a great story too. I mean, the testament that of an internal employee to tell of your story and how to be promoted. I mean, it's step by step, but it's also a real situation. And so I hope job seekers are paying attention to the fact of not only your story, but the fact they may see yourself in your shoes. And I think that's the most important. We have these employers and recruiters coming, talking about this. So, it's one thing DRCVI or Department of Labor or vocational rehab talks about this, but when it comes right from the employers, it's that much more impactful. So I really do hope the job seekers are fully paying attention to some of these opportunities. And I think Sergeant Griffin made a very good point. Sometimes you like a job and you just want to do it well, but you don't necessarily want the responsibilities. Maybe you can't do the family situation, but it's satisfying and you're doing a good job, and that's good too. And other people do want the career ladder. So the opportunities are there as much as you can and want, and it works for you and it works for the employer. So thank you for that. And now we're going to wrap it up with this event. And we're going to start with Sergeant Griffin first, because he's been the very last one. He's going to be the first one on this one. Okay. This is, again, for job seekers to really pay attention to. We started out with what is the fit, okay? We talked about hard skills, soft skills, the being honest and being on time and good conflict resolution. Now we're going to talk about, from the perspective from the employer, they're going to give you the best advice they can as a job seeker to work with them, okay? So we're going to start with Sergeant Griffin. Tell the job seekers, what is the best advice you can give in terms of working for your organization?
I have to admit, I feel a bit spoiled here. I put a big smile on my face. So before we even talk about getting to the Virgin Islands Police Department, this is a big thing for me. And I tell young individuals, because many times the people who are coming into my organization are younger in age. They're in their 20s and 30s. And you have to think first, do I want growth? Do I want a career? What is a career to me? Do I just want a job where I go in every day? Or do I want to be able to live in a comfortable environment with a good home? Do I want to be able to have money and not live paycheck to paycheck? Do I want some pride and the people who are supporting you to say, you know what, I'm proud of you? And those are big factors for me. And first off, you have to look the part. You have to dress the part. And I'm not just talking about coming to VIPD. I'm talking about any job that you take on. You have to dress the part. You have to make sure you're walking in there ready to say, I want this job. When I was 19 years old, I walked into Western Auto in St. Croix, which is closed. And I said, I want this job. They said, what can you? I can replace 3 of your guys. Now, I may have been a bit bold by saying I could replace 3 of your guys, but I lived up to it. I meant it. And I became a great employee. I didn't walk in there with my pants hanging. I didn't come in there I came in there with a suit on for a job at Western Auto. That's what I did. And that's my first step to everyone. Come in there with some confidence and dress the part. 2, VIPD is very specific. We need you to have that level of trust and integrity and want to help and protect. It's not just a cliche statement. It's true. We're the ones who are running towards the dangerous exchanges when everyone else is running away. So it does take some level of courage. And we can help you. And you can, believe it or not everyone is born courageous, but you can learn to be courageous. You're not born a leader, but you can learn to be a leader. But the one thing we cannot give you is integrity. So in our organization, we will train you for everything you need to do. We will help you from beginning to end, and we will compensate you well to do so. We just expect you to have a certain level of loyalty, trust, independence, and be willing to help our community.
Wow.
Awesome.
All right, ladies, you have to follow that now. I don't know. Wow, that was very good. All right, we're going to let Millicent go second on that one.
You want me to go second? Okay, awesome.
advice
The best
you can give.
advice, the
Mhm.
best advice to give to a job seeker, on top of what the good sergeant have stated, market yourself. Apply for the jobs, even though outright you may not think you can qualify. Apply for the jobs now, okay? Understand. Attend job fairs.
Mhm.
Research the agency of interest as well as the work culture. Network with HR professionals. Be confident as to who you are and what you want and dress the part, like what the good old sergeant stated. Oh, yes. Never ever say no. It's not my job or part of my job description. Nope. And always, always have a positive outlook as you prepare for the next great move in your life. Again, the GVI is hiring. We want you. This is a perfect time. We offer great opportunities, great benefits. It's more than a paycheck. It is about purpose and it's about passion. So come on, join us, the VI Elite Workforce. Thank you.
I'll say it again and again and again. Millicent is an amazing ambassador, recruiter, and personnel to represent the VI. Just that alone, I think I'm going to go apply tomorrow, but I just don't know. So you're a great recruiter and the passion is great. Again, you know, sometimes in terms of, you know, where you find yourself, what your interest, you might not have ever thought like, well, who wants to work for the government? But all of a sudden you saw Millicent, it's like, if they're like her, I'm going to work for the VI government. So just great repping, great repping. All right, and we're going to, last but not least, First Bank, Carol, give us, you know, in terms of best advice for job seekers and your last word you'd like to say.
Thanks, Shami. I echo my co-panelists, Sergeant Griffith and Miss Obey. Everything that they said is absolutely correct. I would like to add to that, you know, before you fill out an application, okay, do a little bit of soul searching, you know, understand who you are and what it is that you want to do and what it is that you would like to become. You know, research the companies and determine whether, you know, you can align with what they are about. Because as employers, that's what we are looking for. People who are aligned with what we are about as an employer. There are a whole bunch of other employers out there. Okay, you could align with any one of them. So we want to make sure that you are aligned with ours. So do some soul searching, understand what it is that you want to do. And then present yourself in a way that's going to convince the employer, as Sergeant Griffith said, I'm better than what you have. Okay, I am the best candidate for the job. And you have to present yourself that way.
Right, right.
You know, confidence, you know. And fortunately, the recruiters are individuals who were part of the organization and they understand the organization and they know what they want their organization to be. So they are going to look at how you present yourself in terms of dress and appearance. Dress, it's more than dressing the part. You know, I share a quick story. 2 of my good employees, they turned out to be great employees, but when they presented themselves on day 1, I was ready to shut them down because they came into the office wearing flip-flops and sundresses.
Oh no.
In a financial institution. It was like, I can't engage. And somebody says, Carol, they're young. Give them an opportunity. And I engage with them after that. So, you know, your first presentation, sometimes, you know, you only get an opportunity to do that once. So you need to pay attention to that also. You know, you need to pay attention to that also.
100%. I mean, just great advice. And again, you know, us employment advocates, we can give you advice, but when you hear right from the employers, you know exactly what they're looking for. And on that note, we just want to thank all of our panelists, our employers. You know, this is an actual recruitment event. As I mentioned in the beginning, this is a time when you can get a job. There are openings. They've mentioned the openings. They've told you the process of applying. They've told you what they're looking for. And so do not, you know, hesitate because the labor shortage is in your favor. Why not let people with disabilities and other diverse applicants get a foot in the door? That doesn't always happen. Okay, that's what DRCVI is trying to push the agenda along with our partners to advance the employment opportunities of people with disabilities with choice employers. And all 3 of these are choice employers because 1, they have numerous openings, 2, they have career ladders, and 3, they go for local talent first. Okay, now with that, Kishma or anyone else in the audience, do you know if there's any questions that are queued up for the presenters?
There was a question from someone asking the panelists if they can share the email address. I saw Sergeant Griffin. If you can change it and put to all instead of the host and the panelists, so everyone on this webinar
Okay,
will be
wonderful.
able to see that address, that email address.
Yeah, so that's great. So if Carol, Milson, Sergeant Griffin, I think you already have put your contact information in, if it's an email, if it's a phone number. Again, pay attention, job seekers are giving us information for a reason, okay? It's for follow-up purpose. So while they're doing that, I want to mention just a couple of things before we fully close out. One is that today is the signing of the ADA, DRCVI, as Angus had already mentioned, our executive director, and put in the chat that we have some other events going on. We kicked it off with this one. And just so you know, Title I, the first part of ADA is employment. Therefore, it fit neatly in to start our ADA celebration with the Employment Recruitment Roundtable. I want to mention that we have a project called Career and Transition, which this activity is a part of. If you are a person with a disability between the age of 14 to 35, you're looking for work, you're not sure what you want to do, we have a career exploration component. That was one of the advice that Carol had given, is to know yourself. We have an opportunity, we can do that through our career exploration. We do monthly youth forums, which we have our next one this Thursday at 5 o'clock with youth leadership, with 2 young people talking about their disabilities and how to self-advocate as a young person with a disability. Tomorrow we have, again, part of the project, we have Know Your Rights under the ADA, Title I, II, and III. We'll go over that as a comprehensive overview. That's for people with disability, advocates, and the community at large. So DRCVI, amongst our partners, are trying to kick off this very important week. And I feel just a privilege and honor that we were able to have such great employers join us to do that, to kick it off this week. Kishma, any other questions that came in by chance?
Sorry, no, not at this time.
Okay, great. So that tells me that you guys gave very, very thorough information. So again, hopefully everybody had pen and paper. With that, I'm going to hand it to Kishma to explain the evaluation, and I'm just going to close it out for this event. So Kishma, if you'd like to give the instructions for the evaluations.
Okay, good afternoon to one and all, and let me thank you from the DRCVI team for attending today, and on behalf of the panelists as well. I'm going to put a link in the chat and ask that you click on that link and submit that evaluation. It takes about 2 minutes. That way, give us some feedback as to what was presented today. And also, you can also share with us any more information or topics that you think would be of interest to you in the future for future trainings and webinars. Once again, wish to thank you and hope that you did receive some valuable information and that you will jump on it as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Kishma. And in terms of any follow-ups, the purpose of today was to get information, to feel empowered, and maybe to make a move. If you feel like you're ready to make a move, you're job ready, the employers already talked about what it means to be job ready. You've got an updated resume. You've got recruiters right here at hand, ready to talk to you if that's an employer you're interested in. If you're a person who's not sure, but would like to maybe work with these employers, but you don't feel job ready, give us a call at DRCVI, ask for myself. I will get you going in the right direction. We network, we talk to these employers. These are our colleagues, these are our friends, and we want in total to make US Virgin Islands a better, stronger workforce. And we feel and hope that this employer recruitment roundtable can be a part of that. So with that, we thank you so very much for attending today. We hope that you get a job out of this. Please let us know if you do. And these employers are making themselves available. Take advantage of that in a very good way, okay? Celebrate the Americans with Disabilities Act today and throughout the week, throughout the year. Let's treat each other like people and not labels. And let's get working. Let's get this workforce going and make it better Virgin Islands, okay? With that, thank you again. Have a very blessed day. Have a very safe day and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much again. And this will be recorded and on our YouTube channel as well. Oh, I see something. Millicent, you want to mention that real quick? Your upcoming? You're on mute?
Phase. Yeah, we're on the planning phase right now. We planning something real big, huge, mega fast of career. It's a career expo, and it's going to be more so towards the ending of the month in both districts. So hey, trust me, it's going to be a lot. It's so much different things that is going to be offered, not just jobs, but you'll learn about presentations, you'll learn about demonstrations. It's going to have workshops, the whole works. It's all, we're working on the logistics, and we look forward to seeing each and every one of you.
Excellent. Millicent, if you can send that to me, I will send it to the whole group. That sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
So excellent.
Over 30 agencies or more we're trying to
Wow.
actually have under one roof. So again, please stay tuned. We're working on this. And you will know because it'll be all over on the media. Thank you.
Wonderful. First Bank or Sergeant Griffin, do you guys have anything coming up that you'd like the audience to know? Any events by chance?
As soon as we do, I promise you that we will be sending it out. I know Ms. Albane is very quick to assist VIPD. That's why I said I'm always in contact with Ms. Albane, and we're always working together, whether it be St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. So they do keep me busy. We just had a meet and mingle in St. Thomas as well as in St. Croix, which went well. And we're trying to get some recruiting done, and again, in the near future, within not just St. Croix, but Puerto Rico as well as in the States. So that's what we're trying to do. And as soon as we have something out,
Mhm.
we'll get it out there to
Wonderful.
the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And Carol, you have anything just by chance?
First Bank, we do not have a very specific recruitment activity planned immediately, but on Thursday, we have joined partners with the Chamber of Commerce, and we are having an after work activity at our First Bank Plaza location in Tutu Park. And for someone who's trying to get to know an organization, understand what that organization is about, the products and services, it's a good place to sort of begin to mingle and get to know. Our staff members will be out participating in the event. It's a good place to show your face and meet people and, talk about who you are and try and understand what First Bank is all about. So that's on Thursday at 5:30 in the afternoon at our First Bank Plaza location in St. Thomas.
And let me give you my best advice to all of you job seekers: network, network, network.
Exactly.
Network. That is the number one way to get a job. I've been in the field for 25 years. I've not applied for a job in 20 years. That's just how powerful networking is, okay? So with that, everybody stay safe. I know the COVID is kind of trying to wreak its ugly head again. That's why we did this in person. We'll have another one in October. Hopefully that will be in person on both islands. And we just, again, thank these employers for their time. I know they're very busy. We got one who's in a conference who took the time out. So we just thank you so very much. And we just wish you a very good day and a very good week, okay? Thank you again. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Shami. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
Good day. Thank you.